Hey guys. So obviously there's no intro right now because my laptop crashed and I haven't gotten it back yet. So yeah, I don't have any editing software so right now. I'm just doing this straight until I can get it replaced and reinstall everything. Yay. Anyway, this is another solo review, obviously, as you can tell, because everyone else was busy and I need to keep the schedule. I don't want to fall behind any more than I already have. So I was like, alright, what's playing out this? There's a couple movies out, not much is playing against Avengers, so, we got this little indie movie. Let's go check out Tully, see how that goes. And it's good. It's good. It's not great. It should be, but it's not. And that's what's kind of interesting and a little annoying about this film is, for about 2/3 of the film, I was really with it. Because for the most part, it's really well written, it's really well acted, and it feels honest and sincere about its subject matter and the highs and lows of it. And Charlize Theron does a fantastic job portraying that character. And I was with it. Until the third act rolls around and there's a twist. For some reason. And I'm going to get more into that. That very nearly killed it for me, and I still haven't really decided if it has or not. And maybe it won't bother other people as much as it bothered me, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So, if you've seen the trailer for this, then you'll know what this is about. For those who haven't heard anything about this movie, Tully is a movie about Charlize Theron, who, when the movie starts, is pregnant with her third child, and the entire movie is basically about the struggles of motherhood, how she's barely coping with having two kids, one who has behavioral challenges, and, well, the 8-year-old daughter seems perfectly fine. Maybe a little shy, but nothing that can't be overcome very easily. Her son is the one who's a real handful. He's, I think, like 5 when this movie takes place. No, 4. He's 4, and he requires behavioral aid that he can afford, which is interesting considering that's my job, is to be the behavioral aid. So it's interesting to watch from that perspective. This is also kind of those movies, like, I don't know, like, I've talked to a lot of moms, but I'm not even gonna remotely pretend I understand their experience, nor is anyone else in the team of mothers. So it's kind of one of those things, it's kind of hard to get real perspective on how accurate this movie is to the struggle. I'm willing to just take it for its word for about most of it. Again, up to a point, which I'm gonna get to. But yeah, so it's all about her initial struggles and her preparing for her third child, and how exhausting it's gonna be. And she has a rich brother who offers to pay for a night nanny, which is apparently a thing. Basically, it's someone that comes in at night and takes care of the baby so you can go sleep. And it's like, which honestly, a brilliant idea. I don't know if those actually exist or not. If they don't, they should, because it's a great fucking idea. And after the baby is born, she struggles with it for a little while until she finally gets to the point where she's so exhausted and so drained and so frustrated dealing with everyone and everything, including a school district who, I can say for fact this one's fucking accurate, where, they're trying to avoid, the school principal is dancing around using the word on the spectrum or anything, or in need of assistance or anything like that, because it's like, well, your son is very quirky. In like that very kind of condescending way, and that way they're trying not to say anything that get them legally in trouble. Even goes on like, we think he'd be great with a one-on-one aid. It's like, okay, great. Do you support that? Oh no, we don't support AIDS. And it's like, I've worked with enough school districts to know this is pretty fucking accurate. Although that being said, a lot of schools are willing to provide aids nowadays, which is great. And you'd think a more expensive private school would be able to afford that, quite frankly. But whatever, it's neither here nor there. And so eventually all that pressure and all that exhaustion just comes crashing down, and she caves and she calls the night nurse, and she comes in, she's very new agey, but she's also very supportive and also clearly wants to help and is very good at helping, and she helps, and she says, I'm here to care for you in all ways, which she takes that quite to an extreme towards the end of the movie, which I'm going to get to that, because that leads to the twist, and the twist is I'm not gonna give away. I'm not gonna give away just yet. I'm gonna save my opinion for when it matters. I'm gonna get there. This is a pretty easy to summarize plot, so it shouldn't take me very long. Meanwhile, her husband, who's the guy in Drinking Buddies movie, I love it. You should go watch Drinking Buddies. It's on Netflix. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. In that it's very, very simple and doesn't have I'm gonna hold off. Nope, not gonna rant yet. I'm gonna wait. Gonna hold it. And anyway, where was I going? So yeah, her husband is not very good at understanding exactly what his wife is going through. So he basically decided to, what was I going with this? Sorry, I just got a text from my girlfriend. He basically decides to, he goes to work, he comes home, he helps kids with like the school and homework and stuff, and then he goes upstairs and play video games and he passes out. So a lot of the initial, like, there's not a whole lot of spark there. It's not like they're in a bad marriage, and it's not like they're in an unhappy marriage, which I like that they portrayed it that way. Just then one that kind of need a boost, and that comes about in a very interesting way. So let me talk about the things I like about this movie before I get into the twist, because I'm at that edge. I'm at that edge where I have to talk about what happens in the third act of the film. So, things I like about this movie. The script, for 2/3 of it, is really well written. Charlize Theron, like I said, I mentioned before, does a fantastic job. She really is one of the best actresses of our time, and she shows it here. She shows that she can really play whatever character you fucking give her at this point. And she really sells a struggling mom. There's just scenes where you feel so bad for her because she looks so fucking exhausted and so drained. But I like this movie doesn't show motherhood as in it's always that way. It's always exhausting. It's always pain. It's always a stone cold bummer. No, and it basically just shows that moms need a fucking break. They just need a break. They need time to sleep. They need time to connect with their husband or wife, with their significant other again. They need time themselves. And the movie does emphasize the importance of self-care. And it is very important, especially when you become parents and those kind of things fall to the wayside. And I like the movie emphasize that. I like the moral of the story in that you need to take care of yourself or shit's gonna fall apart. Or you're just gonna fall apart and you're not gonna be able to take care of the kids to your best abilities because you're not taking care of yourself first. As the movie says, you can't treat you can't treat the whole without treating the part, or vice versa, whatever the trailer is. No, it's you can't treat the part without treating the whole. And I like that. I like that message. I like the movie's trying to portray it honestly. You can tell this is written with somebody with experience. Or if it's not, it sure feels like it. I like that Charlize Theron actually, apparently this is a kind of a passion project for her because she also produced it. Now, granted, I don't know that for sure, but I'm guessing. Because it's really, again, she really pulls it off fairly easily. She makes it look easy. And apparently she put on like 50 fucking pounds for this role. So good. She was committed to making this work. And she does. I like how whenever she gets really talks about motherhood, like the stuff that people don't like to talk about necessarily, how actively uncomfortable it makes everyone else around her. I also, there's just a lot of stuff I like in the movie. I like how the characters interacted. I liked how I like the language they use. I like how authentic it feels and how honest it feels. And I like the chemistry between her and the night nurse. I think that's all very good. I think the husband for the part he plays does a really fantastic job. And I really like how the movie ended. The very ending. Not to the twist. So it's like, those are all really, really good elements and really good stuff I really liked about this movie. And I was like, okay, I'm on board. This is going to be a great movie. Yeah, what can go wrong? And then this happened. So, it kind of starts broaching creepy territory. I don't need to go. I'm gonna do it anyway. It starts approaching creepy territory when Charlize Theron and the night nurse start connecting more, and it gets to the point where the night nurse, whose name is Tully, is talking about how she needs to reignite her sex life, basically. And Charlize Theron explains to her that he's always had this server fantasy. like an old school, like diner waitress fantasy kind of thing. And she even has the outfit. So then the night nurse puts it on, and and then basically just fucks the husband for her, which Charlize Theron's remarkably okay with. Well, the poor husband just looks really confused, but he just kind of goes with it too. Even the next day, he's kind of like, should we fucking talk about this? And she's like, no, we're cool. We're just like, okay. Just really baffled. So that was already grossing into, like, that was for me, and as someone who works in the child care industry, it was kind of like, this is crossing some boundaries. That's making me really uncomfortable. So that was kind of, I mean, and again, that leads into the twist, and the twist kind of explains it, even though I'll get to it. I'm almost there. And then, like, the following time she visits, she decides that Charlize Theron just really needs to blow off steam, so let's go out drinking in Brooklyn. And then they go drinking off in Brooklyn, and then shit just falls apart from there, and it ends up that Charlize Theron falls asleep at the wheel, and she crashes into a lake. Out of nowhere, by the way. This comes right the fuck out of nowhere. Where all of a sudden, and that's where this movie kind of falls apart, is when they start going out and drinking, because everything they've built up to that point, like all the chemistry, all the goodwill, all that stuff, feels kind of thrown out the window, and just to have some conflict at the very end. Conflict, it didn't feel earned to me. It didn't feel earned, and it was already losing me by that point, and I felt like it went on for a little too long. It was falling into cliche territory. It's the same thing that The Kids Are Right did, where I thought that everything up to the affair in that movie worked really, really well, and they did the affair storyline, and the movie fell apart, because I can tell basically where the movie's going from there. And it has like a been there, done that feel, and that's kind of what this felt like to me. It's like, okay, I've seen this before, I've done this before, and not to mention, it just doesn't fit the movie it's in, and it feels really out of place. It's really distracting. But then it gets even more distracting when you get to the big twist, when it's revealed that the night nurse, Tully, was in her head the entire time. They went with the Fight Club twist, where it turns out that the night nurse that she never called the night nurse. It was all in her head. She was just seeing things, and apparently it was like a younger version of her when she was 26. And yeah, that's the twist. They went with the Fight Club twist. That she was a ghost the whole time. She was in her head the whole time. And everything she did, she imagined as her doing, like, as the night nurse doing those things, rather than Charlize Theron. It comes out and like it. This was not a movie that needed a twist, and to force one in there feels really contrived, and it feels like a producer note. Like the studio didn't trust this enough to stand as just what should have been just a straightforward drama. This to throw a half-assed twist in there doesn't fit. It's like trying to throw a square piece in a circle hole. It just doesn't work, because it's not a movie that needs a twist. Again, kind of like with the Kids Are All Right. There was enough conflict there of just being a mom and finding ways to cope with the stresses of it. That's enough. But it feels like the movie didn't trust that to be enough, and that's really disappointing. And yeah, again, it took me right out of the movie. To me, I was like, what the fuck? Like, you didn't need this. This is so unnecessary. It doesn't really add anything of particular. It doesn't really add anything worthy of value. You could have just had the night nurse leave, and that could have been like the drama there, and the rest of the movie would not have had to change. You could have done without the car crash, honestly, because again, that was a massive drama beat that, again, came out of nowhere, didn't feel earned, just happened because it needed conflict to end the movie. The entire third act feels wildly out of place compared to everything else that's been happening up to that point, and it just did not work for me. Now, this movie has an 88% on Rotten Tomato. I'm willing to bet I'm not the only person that has this complaint. Now, granted, there's a lot of other really good things in this movie to recommend. So if you saw this movie and the twist didn't bother you or didn't kill it for you, I understand why. I'm still not sure if it killed it for me or not. I'm still kind of piecing that together in my head. But to me, it made it frustrating because, like, this movie could have been great. It should have been great, but it's not because this twist really holds it back. It really holds it back because it feels like in a movie that was trying to honestly portray parenthood in the highs and lows that it has, really fell into Hollywood contrivances, and that is a huge shame. Because again, if you just kept to the structure you had, if you kept to the foundation in which this movie built, you stuck to the narrative in which it was constructing, you could have made a really great movie. But it's not, because again, it drops all that to throw in some drama and conflict at the very end, only for it to turn out to be some dumb twist. It was like, it'd be like watching, what's a good example? It'd be like watching, oh man, I'll think of something, but the general point is that, what is my point? I don't know. Fuck, I'm sorry, I totally lost my train of thought. Wow, okay, I totally got derailed. My apologies. The point I'm trying to make is it didn't need it. Could have cut it out completely, or at least found a way around it. Because again, I still like the very ending of this movie, where it turns out after the car crash, the husband realizes he's been fucking up and says, in quote, "I love us. It basically says, like, I'm going to try harder to be a better parent and be a better husband." And he follows through on that in a really sweet closing scene where she wakes up in the morning after coming back from the hospital. She's cutting vegetables, and her husband comes down, shares it, like, because at this point she wants to put her iPod in while she's cutting the vegetables. Her husband comes in, takes one of the piece of the earbuds out, put it in his ear, and starts cutting vegetables with her. That's a really sweet ending. It tells you everything you need to know. It was a great way to end the film. So again, I'm really fucking torn on this, because on the one hand, I hate the twist. I think it's stupid. I think it's unnecessary. And I think it's just there to fit into the Hollywood mold that they wanted for this. But at the same time, I like where they went with it, in that it strengthened her relationship with the husband. So, like, that stuff I liked. And again, maybe with just a few rewrites, maybe with just if you did this without the twist, you could have made this work. And it could have been great. But you got that stupid twist in there, and it just totally takes you out. And you gotta drag yourself back in. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. So yeah, that's really the most of it I can think of. That's what really bothered me above everything else. Overall, like, so it's good, but it should have been better. That's, I think, the biggest note I can leave for this is I'm not mad. I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed because it should have been better, and yeah, I'm just repeating myself. So I can't think of a whole lot to say about this one. The twist was really the biggest point to discuss, so there you go. I'm going to quickly go over trailers, because a lot of these I've gotten before. There's a couple new ones in here that I'll talk about quickly. But yeah, I'm not going to waste a whole lot of time on it. So, got Book Club. This trailer was better because it makes it look like it was more of like this romantic comedy for seniors, which I'm perfectly fine with. I do not like the shameless advertisement for 50 Shades of Grey. Because that book needs to die, it needs to fall out of existence, and people need to stop fucking talking about it, because it's no longer worthy of it wasn't worthy of our attention when it first came out, and it's certainly not now after the third fucking movie came out. I'm so ready for 50 Shades of Grey to be gone. Let's bury it deep where it can never come back out again. But on a Book Club could be fine. I don't know. Then we got Sicario 2, which I've talked about that one before. Mamma Mia 2 looks worse every time I see a trailer for it. The Darkest Minds. Oh, the X-Men ripoff. Okay, yeah, okay. Also made by Fox, oddly enough. So I guess this is Fox's attempt to find, like, a substitute For the X-Men movies, well, if I had to take an educated guess right now, I'd say this is based on a YA book somewhere, because it looks like it's tailored to it's like X-Men, but for the young adult crowd, is what I'm getting out of this. I don't know, it looks pretty generic, pretty pointless. I don't know, it looks bleh. And then I got Tag, which despite myself, I'm still curious about. The concept alone intrigues me. The company itself looks like it could be probably not going to be that good, but like it could be like game night. Could have a couple chuckles. Then I got a trailer for Johnny English Strikes Again, which I know they're still making these, but I like Mr. Bean. I haven't seen any other Johnny English movies. I don't know if they're good or bad. I know this trailer had a couple chuckles, and I think Mr. Bean is a really good physical actor. And I'm sad I don't know his actual name. Like seriously, if you want proof that he's a funny actor, go look up the live show he did where he played Satan. It's hysterical. And then we got the Mr. Rogers. Well, I got the Mr. Rogers documentary, which I don't usually check out documentaries, but I honestly I admire the shit out of Mr. Rogers, so I might go on my way to go see that anyway. And that was the last trailer. So Tully, I think I'm just gonna repeat myself at this point. Yeah, I liked it, but I want it to be better. I believed it could have been better. But its own plot held it back. So, yeah, that's it. So, for this week, the only other thing I gotta check out is Overboard, and next week, I don't know what comes out. I'm gonna look it up. But I'm willing to bet it's probably nothing great. Let me see. Yep. Life of the Party. And Breaking In. Breaking In I'm kind of looking forward to, just in like, it might be, it's like so bad it's good territory, I'm hoping. And then Life of the Party just looks like shit. So, yeah, that's all I got. So sorry this wasn't the most like enticing, hilarious review. It's just pretty straightforward. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you all later this week. Bye.